Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So yes, I'm Thomas Martin. I'm the executive director of CalABLE, which I'll explain what that is in a bit for those who don't know. Just quick visual description. I'm an Asian male with short brown hair and a blue button-up shirt. So a bit more about me. I'm autistic, and so are both of my kids. So CalABLE is really important for my family. It's important for me as a savings option, but it's important for them in particular to help protect their benefits in the future. But I will walk through that. Let me share my screen really quick. I believe this will work. Okay, I think that worked. So, um, so CalABLE, let's talk about how that works. For those who don't know, CalABLE is a savings and investment program for people with disabilities. So it's a state program. I'm a state worker, just like our friends at DHCS. We have a mission. We have a mission to help people with disabilities to be able to save, plan for the future, and protect their benefits in the process. So, really quick before I get into too many details on the program itself, let me just quickly walk through who is eligible. So, in order to be eligible for a CalABLE account, you have to have a disability that starts before the age of 26, as of right now. Come January 1, that's going to increase to disabilities that begin before the age of 46. So it doesn't matter how old you are today, just matters when the disability began. So, I am well past the age of 26 and feeling it, but my disability starts at birth, so I can still have an account. So that's the age when the disability begins. For the disability itself, to know that's a qualifying disability, you either have to be eligible for SSI or SSDI from Social Security Administration, or you can self-certify as having a disability. I don't receive SSI or SSDI, but I can still have an account because I can self-certify as having a disability. We have more information on our website. If you go to calable.ca.gov, we have an eligibility button right at the top, and I can include links in the chat once I'm done chatting. But yeah, if you go to that, it'll give a little bit more detail on what that looks like. But again, you just have to either have be eligible for SSI or SSDI or self-certify. And we don't need records or anything like that. It's you just state how you're eligible. So that's who can have it. But I think that probably the bigger question is, why would you want one? You'd want one because CalABLE helps people save for themselves or for someone else and plan for their futures. So if you're doing it for yourself, great. If you're supporting someone else, great. The real goal is to help people be able to save and have a financial plan in place. So for someone saving for themselves, um, you can have again, you don't have to receive benefits to have a CalABLE account. You just have to have an eligible disability. And you can use it to save for the long term expenses, or you can start spending right away. There's no penalties or anything like that for using the funds. And so it operates kind of like something like ScholarShare, the college savings plan, which is great, or something like a Roth IRA, something like that, where you can choose from a range of different investment options, and you can kind of have the opportunity to grow your wealth that way. Um, but also, but unlike those, there is more that you can use it for. And I'll get into what the types of uses in a bit. But what's helpful to know is that you can use it at any point. You don't have to wait for something like you might with like a retirement plan or something like that. You could immediately start using it for day-to-day purchases or for a major planned expense like a house or anything like that. And what's really great, and the reason why I use it, is because all the earnings in the account are tax-free. So it's just a great savings vehicle, just a nice way to save for the future. But you can also use it for someone else. So whether it's regardless of age, if there's someone who needs support, if they're unable to manage their own account for whatever reason, or if they'd like support, an account can be opened on their behalf, and managed on their behalf. So this is how I'm using it for my kids. I've opened an account for them so I can start saving for them, and when they're older, if they're able to take over their accounts, then great, I can hand it over to them. If they're not, then I can continue managing it, whatever makes the most sense. And anyone can add to their account using a gifting page. And what's helpful for those collecting benefits is anything that gets gifted like that doesn't count as income for the purposes of benefits or taxes. And really, that's the biggest benefit. The biggest benefit is for someone who's receiving other benefits, because it helps them protect those benefits. So what do I mean by that? So I'm sure a lot of you folks are aware, but uh, in order to get SSI, which is the main source of income, if not the only source of income for just over 1 million Californians, in order to get SSI payments, you can't have more than $2,000, which is basically nothing. How can you plan for the future? How can you get an apartment or anything, any major expenses? Like you plan for an emergency if you can't have more than $2,000 to your name. Um, I'm saving for my kids because I want them to have a nest egg for when they're older, so they can go to college or get an apartment or whatever that might be. But they couldn't do those things if they could only have $2,000, and at least one, if not both of them, will be receiving SSI and other benefits as an adult. Um, but that's where CalABLE comes in. So whereas normally SSI would start to cut you off if you have more than $2,000 to your name, CalABLE is exempt by law. So you can have up to $100,000 in a CalABLE account and still maintain SSI eligibility. Um, and any other benefits that look at your assets, so how much money you have on hand, it can also help with that. So for example, housing choice vouchers, Section 8, or relevant to you guys in particular is Medi-Cal. So starting next year, there's going to be an asset limit of $130,000 for Medi-Cal recipients. However, everything in a CalABLE account is exempt. So you could save more than the $130,000 limit if you use a CalABLE account. It's exempt from that limit. So it's a great long-term savings plan. It's a great way to be able to plan for the future, even short-term, because $2,000 is only so much, but you can save more than that. And this is the only way for a lot of families to be able to do that. And really, what it helps people do is be as independent as they can be. Be financially independent, make your own decisions, not be as reliant on other people, for example. It just helps people be as independent as they can be. So just very quickly about how it works. I mentioned before, you can have $100,000 and protect SSI eligibility. That's specific for SSI. If you're not looking to protect any benefits, you can have up to $529,000. Or if you're only receiving Medi-Cal, again, you could have up to $529,000 and still protect Medi-Cal eligibility come January 1. However, there is an annual contribution limit. So as for this calendar year, you can contribute up to $19,000. So obviously getting to 100,000 or 529,000, that would obviously be over multiple years. But again, this helps people be able to save for the long term. And so what can you spend the money on? Really, you can spend it on virtually anything that's going to benefit the person with a disability. So it is their account, it's their money, so it needs to be used for them. And it just needs to benefit, as you can see on the top, it needs to benefit their health, independence, or quality of life. So those are the three categories: health, independence, quality of life. So if something is, so there's on the screen are some examples. So education, housing, transportation, healthcare, food, recreation, anything like that, you can use it toward. as long as it's benefiting that individual's health, independence, or quality of life. You can also, and so to actually spend the money, you can transfer in and out of the account. You can have checks made out to someone, or the easiest way really is to get a prepaid card that's attached to the account that you can use and spend. It's a Visa card, so use it wherever you use a Visa card. Um, and lastly, because I know I only have a little bit of time, but how do you actually open an account? Um, you go to our website, calable.ca.gov, um, and you just click on Open an Account. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. It took me about 10 minutes when I first created mine forever ago. They're not too bad. It's a lot of it is the same information you need for like a bank account or something like that. Accounts can be opened by the person with disability. So I opened my own, or it can be opened by what we call an authorized legal representative, which really is just whoever is helping them. So I opened my kids' accounts as their authorized legal representative. And we support 9 languages in the portal. So Spanish, Chinese, and Korean are the biggest ones, but there's a handful of other languages that we also support in the portal as well. So with that, one last thing is how to contact us. So if you can give us a call at 833-CalABLE. We have a customer service center that supports more languages than you can possibly think of, including if you have a hearing impairment, we have a relay service you can use. You could also, on the screen is a QR code. You can sign up for our emails and newsletters and get more information about the program. We also do monthly webinars. So last month's webinar was about how to use it with Social Security. Next month's webinar is going to be a lot of kind of CalABLE basics, how it works, some more details. And since I know you guys are ambassadors and you're talking and working with the community, you can also email us. We can work with you on a presentation or on materials or something like that, answer questions you have. If you email calable@treasure.ca.gov, let us know you're interested. We can work with you on a presentation or something along those lines.